Well, hello and very good Wednesday to all of you, and welcome to our webinar. And today we will be talking about our recently released product, the File Scanner Kiosk. My name is Eka Ranta, and with me in this webinar is Petter Johansson, who is the Senior Product Manager for the File Screener Kiosk. Welcome, Petter.
Thank you very much, Eka.
We will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, so please submit your questions, or you can send your questions later to me or Peter as well. The agenda, as you can see on the screen, and the webinar is scheduled to last 30 minutes. So I think we just let's get started.
Yeah. So tell us about this product, Eka. What was the idea that got it started from the beginning?
Well, the need for the kiosk was originally raised a few years back by some of our customers who are using our file security screener solution. So for this FSS solution, they needed an endpoint device to transfer the files to the FSS. So once we got the simple device developed, there were, of course, many more wishes what this device should do. So as you know, one thing led to another, and now we have this beautiful file scanner kiosk that can be used as a standalone device. So again, it was something that the purpose was for something else, and in the end, the kind of the development led to us something. I can't say that very different, but a different to what was the original thoughts on that one. Few of the customers that we have, they've been testing this device along the way, and they've actually provided a really good, valuable feedback. So what works, what should be dropped, and then we just a few weeks, couple months back, we released this one.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, good. Okay. There's those customers that already have the device. One feedback that we get from them is that the device is very easy to use. So, Peter, can you explain how the device, how it works?
Yes. Sure. So it's a a very simple three-step process. You insert your source USB to the left side. You wait for the files to be scanned, and then you receive the files on the destination USB on another USB stick.
And simple as that.
Yes, simple as that. And then under the hood, we take care of all the complexity. So we have three separate AV malware scanners or AV engines that runs in parallel, and so that you have more likelihood of finding something if there is something to find.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, you mentioned the three separate AV engines. What are those? What
Yes.
engines you are using?
So currently we're working with WithSecure, we're working with Trellix and Icarus.
Okay. Okay. And just they correct me. So do you always need to actually transfer the files, from the source to the destination, or, is that always mandatory?
It is the recommended way of working with the product because USBs can be quite tricky. You can have different file systems or different ways of hiding a file in a USB stick. So to be really sure that you're not compromising anything, then it's recommended to have two. But you might as well just have one to make a quick scan of your files. So it depends on the use case and your needs and your policy on how you work with things.
Okay.
You
But
will,
yeah.
you will get the feedback through the screen on the front. So you will be able to follow the progress and if there is any problem.
Okay. Good. Makes
And,
sense.
you, and if you insert the destination USB, you will also get the report written to the USB. So you can have traceability of what has been done.
Okay, that sounds good. So basically, you can just you can scan your USB media, the files on it, and then you can decide if you want to actually transfer them to a destination USB media.
Yeah, exactly. It's up
Okay,
to you.
okay, good, good. The, the one definitely will be asked. The question is that, is there any limitation the size of the USB media that you can use with this device?
No, we have decided not to have any limitation. Of course, there is a practical limitation of you have to wait for everything to finish, but there is no upper limit on how big the discs can be. So if you have the time to wait, no problem.
Okay, okay, good. So, well, there's always interesting the use cases. So, as it says, Advenica File Scanner Kiosk is for operators who must import files into critical systems without introducing uncertainty, downtime, or audit risk. So, Peter, what does that really mean?
So the purpose of this is to give you more control without any disruption. But in the practicality, what you can use it for example, if you have a production facility and you have a reception and you want to make sure that all your subcontractors that they are really careful with scanning all the files before they enter your production facility, you can set this up in the reception, and then you can require all the visitors to submit their files. And maybe you can also have the destination USBs for them, so you make sure that everything is like nice and clean before you enter the factory. It could also be that you're working directly with an OT system, operation technology, where you have like an automation system, and you have already made your air gap system, but you still need to import updates, firmware updates for different machines or something. Then you can run this to make sure that everything is scanned before you enter your protected network. And the similar use cases goes for government use cases where you have air gapped environment, not only to keep malware out, but also protecting your information from leaving the building. So,
Okay, good ones. A couple questions on that one. You mentioned about the air gap. Can you explain what is meant by air gap?
yeah, so air gap is a common strategy because when you connect a computer to the internet, there is always a risk. If there is a software solution, there's always a risk that something might leak, either something bad coming in or something sensitive leaving your premises. So a strategy that many government installation use is that they don't connect to the internet at all. So instead, they use USBs to update and to bring in new information and bring out new information. But there is always a small risk that the USB itself will carry a malware. So there have been in the many cases where this has happened. So that's why you need the Kiosk to protect you from things coming out from the outside.
Yeah, makes sense. And the other use case you mentioned on the what we have also on the screen that they in the reception. So because no one really can see what you have on the USB media just by looking at it. So they would force you to insert your USB media to the kiosk for scanning, and then they would provide you a USB media that they are using on their premises, and you would leave your USB media to the reception. Was
Yeah,
that what you meant?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
also for many of those use cases, it's also possible to connect the Kiosk to your local network to have a log submitted somewhere else to a log server, so you can follow and have a traceability of what happened. So
Okay.
we follow normal syslog standards, so it's very easy to integrate with any log server. any industrial standard log server.
Okay, okay, okay. That makes sense as well. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned about the OT systems and the air gap. Then we had the facility. So okay, good examples.
Another
Should we?
example would be for example, if you're working on making new contracts and you have sub-supplier bidding on a new project, and you get a lot of information, maybe through email or through your web server or something. And before you bring those contracts into your production system or to your office network, you can also use the Kiosk as an import. And that's also an easy way of securing things. I mean, when you do these kind of things, you kind of open an attack vector because people from the outside know how to transmit files to you, and you could never be too careful these days.
Yeah.
So should we move on to the target sectors?
Yes. Well.
Use
Well.
this.
Yeah. Well. Just what you explained on the previous slides. To me, it sounds that this is suited basically to any company. But what's your view?
Well, at Advenica, we usually work with infrastructure, industry, authority, and defense. And I would say that this is a good fit for all of them. I mean, we have built a very robust product, and with the three different malware scanners, it also has a less likelihood of something slipping through the phishing nets, let's say. So
Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely got few customers already who are on the defense sector, and the feedback has been, as mentioned earlier, has been really positive. But there's lots of interest from other sectors as well, because the files are being transferred on a USB media, so it's definitely not stopping, and that's why the device is needed.
yes,
Yeah.
often you are on this air-gapped network, but you still always need to bring something in, some software update or some new files or some new documents or something, whatever, and then we're here to protect you.
Yeah. Good. Thank you for sharing that one. Should we move forward?
Yes.
Right. So, okay, we talk about how easy it is to use. Also, you mentioned the three AV scanners, but about encryption, if customers have encrypted files, what support do you have on this system?
Yeah, so we have already implemented support for unlocking BitLocker encrypted devices.
Yeah.
So if you have a BitLocker, like with that is a Windows or Microsoft standard, so it's very easy to get started. So if your device is encrypted with BitLocker, the Kiosk can unencrypt the files, and then so you have to enter your password. You can connect if the keypad on the Kiosk is too small or it's too complicated. You can also add a separate keyboard to enter your credentials, and then you unlock or unencrypt the data and you scan it before you put it on a new USB device.
Okay. Good. And the one, as this is a standalone device, so three AV scanners, how you update the kind of AV definition files? What is the
Yes,
process for it?
so this is a very important part of the product, of course. So you need to have newly updated antivirus definitions, and we have taken care of all the licensing for you. So you buy everything as a package from us, and we also provide you with files that you can download and you can update. So many of our customers use these kind of devices already in an air-gapped environment. So it is a bit of a challenge to do automated updates, but we're working on that too because you can always add like a Advenica data diode or something to import your files. But that will come in a later update of the product.
Okay. Okay. So manually at the moment.
Yes, so it's manually. You need to go to our webpage and download the packages, and we are releasing, of course, regularly new updates.
Good. Okay, so you mentioned about the remote logging. You mentioned about the support for the BitLocker, the scan report. So thank you for explaining those functionalities. Now that the product has been released, what's happening next? You mentioned something about the possibility for remote update, but how does the future for the product look like?
Yes, so Advenica intend to be the most service-oriented company, of course. So we try to listen to the customers as we go along. And here are 4 key features that we have got as feedback already after just having this on the market for a few weeks. So the remote update, of course, is the most prioritized function for going forward. But we're also looking at the central management system. Maybe you have a fleet of a few different kiosks. Maybe you have one in each copying room at your office. And also remote file transfer to be able to scan the file, import the file and scan the file on the kiosk, and then upload it to a remote disk somewhere automatically so you can reach it from your computer. And then, of course, we're looking at more ways of decrypting encrypted USBs. So we will add support for Veracrypt, which is very similar to BitLocker, but it's another way of doing this. And then, of course, we're very keen on listening to you on what you need. So we have a good platform for making adaptations for you.
Good. Sounds good. Thank you, Peter. And in the interest of time, I think we need to move to the Q&A session because we already have received lots of questions. Let me see. There's a lot of questions on how to update the virus definitions. You covered that already. And there's also a question on that what information you are actually able to see the display. And I know currently it's and correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but what I heard is that currently we have the progress bar showing how it's progressing, but we are changing that to more detail information that it shows you what file is being scanned and the total amount of data you have on that one, so that user can see that there's something happening and which file is being scanned and by which AV scanner.
Yeah, I think we have had different requests from different customers on this topic. So some customers, they prefer a progress bar and not revealing anything, whereas other customers would prefer a list of the files that are passing through the device. So we will add the possibility to have both options. And I think this leads to the way we configure the product as well. So the product has a service port in the back, and there is a text file that you can update. So it's a bit simple, but it's also very easy to make it reproducible. So you can have many devices with the same configurations. And then when we add remote configuration, of course, it's easier to have a similar configuration on many devices at the same time.
Yeah.
Are there any more questions, Eka?
Oh, there's plenty. I can't just keep scrolling the screen fast enough. So the next one is, let me see, those are all about the updating the AV definitions. There's a one about the price. What is the price, list price for the box?
Yeah, so the price is 7,000 euros. And then we sell a continuous MSA of 20%, so 140, 1,400 every year. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, and the MSA includes what?
The MSA includes of course, all our support, but it also includes all the updates of the malware scanners. So we really recommend to keep the device updated over time.
Okay. And then there is a question: how many file scanner kiosk does one company need? What are your thoughts on that one?
I think it's always good when you try something new that you maybe try with one to to discover how it works, and then you build from there. And we have a possibility to deliver more if you need. But one way of having it is to have one in each reception. If you have multiple locations, maybe in one in each location. Or in many companies, you have a copying room with a copying machine, and that could be one place to place the product. So it really depends on your needs. But it's fairly, compared to other cybersecurity solutions, it's very easy to implement this in your organization because you just need to bring the device and you start it in a few minutes. So easy
Yeah.
to go.
Okay. The next one is there's been also several questions on that one. So if the box detects malware, will it delete it or will it reject the USB? What's the behavior? So what happens if there's you scan the USB stick
Yeah.
and there's something suspicious?
So if there's something suspicious, it will stop at once. So it won't continue its operations. And you will have only the report on the destination so you can see what happened.
Yeah, there was one on that one exactly that they, you know, will is it found in the logs if a malware is found?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay, then there's a let me see where is the next one. Does the kiosk run all three antivirus engines at the same time, or does it run one at a time?
They run in parallel. So we try to shorten the time that it takes, not skipping anything, but making it as smooth as possible. So they will run in parallel.
Okay, okay. Um, Not sure if you know this one, but does it have support for the glass wall CDR?
We have had customers asking for that, and that is something that we're looking into, but it doesn't have that currently, but we will get there.
Yeah. Okay, you mentioned about the yearly fee. About well, how is administration handled currently? So you mentioned about the log files, remote log files that you are able to send those.
Yes.
What information? Can you just briefly explain what information is gathered in the logs?
What's the information that is gathered in the logs?
Yeah,
Um, you get a timestamp of everything that is happening. So there is a scan started, and then when it's finished, and you also get a list of the files. And then if there is something, I mean, yeah, some strange things happening with the device. Hopefully not. We have
yeah,
done all we can to keep it a good quality product, but I think it's always good to have a log system for any device that you have in your possession, so you know what's going on in the devices. But then, of
yeah,
course, it's possible to add more things to the log if that's requested.
yeah. Then there was a several on that one. Then there's will you add more malware scanners? And also, was it specific reasons for using WithSecure, Trellix, and Icarus?
I think maybe you have a good answer for the reason.
Yeah, yeah, that's the WithSecure was with a specific request from some of the customers. Then the Trellix and Icarus, we had a long list of AV scanners that we've been testing and see that how well those work, how fast they are, and of course, the success rate. And those are the three that we ended up. But then again, we continuously kind of keep testing and evaluating new ones if there would be something that would be even better. But I can't say that, we would never add more, because I know there has been discussions that should we have more, but the tree seems to be working fine and is, rather fast. But I don't know, Petter, if you have a more insight on that one. But I think at the moment we will proceed with the tree. But again, you never know what's going to happen in the future.
No, but it is like a trade-off. Performance and time you have to wait, the coverage you have, and I think those three makes a good coverage. But we also have, I mean, adding more scanners would in the future would be quite straightforward. We have built it in a very modular, flexible way, so that would be quite easy. Then it's a question of what you're trying to do, because this is our kind of simple solution or easy to work with. If you have the need for more performance or more assurance, being more sure that you're not missing anything, we also have our file security screener where you can have multiple of malware scanners already. So you can have like a package of 8 different scanners. So we already have that kind of product as well. If you're interested.
So kind of for that one, you need the functionality you mentioned on the roadmap, that you are able to transfer the scanned files to
Yeah,
the file
exactly. If
security
you want to
screener.
connect it to the kiosks,
Yeah,
then it's like that.
yeah,
But for the file security screeners, there's also other options on how to integrate the product. So you can have, for example, a drop folder somewhere, and then the files just automatically shows up some at another place. So it all depends on if you want to work with this simple solution with the USBs, or if you want to make something more powerful, so to say, more with more performance.
good. Just trying to see that. Okay, we are there. So do the kiosk reconstruct the file, or does it just copy it?
It for the moment it just copies it. So that will be if you do the glass wall or something, then you need to then you put it together again. But we have in this product we have chosen not to. So
Yeah,
either it accepts it or it doesn't. So it's
yeah. I mean, there's so many questions. There's we will run out of time. But what we will do is we will collect all those, get the answer to those, and share that with the participants. So we will do that one. The last one is that, okay, which industries are showing the strongest demand for USB malware scanning today? I think we discussed that one, that the basically all the sectors, there's a need for all customers
yeah.
for this one. Okay, one more. Uh, okay, that's also about the future plans for the glass wall. There's can you export the syslogs? Do you need something specific when exporting the syslogs?
Well, you need a network connection to a syslog server. So and then you configure it in this configuration file, and you upload it with the USBs, and then it starts to stream the syslogs. So it is straightforward to do this.
Okay, this is the last one. Have you ever got the request to physically destroy the USB drive if malware is detected?
It would be a nice feature,
Yeah,
physically
but
killing the.
okay, I mean, there's plenty of questions that unfortunately we didn't have time to answer, but like mentioned, we will get the answers and share those with you. So thank you very much for your time, Peter, and everyone on the webinar. It's been nice to talking to you, and hopefully we were able to provide some useful information to the community out there. So thank you and enjoy rest of your Wednesday.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye bye.